Imagine getting kicked out of your adventuring party the exact second you finish celebrating your brand new S-rank promotion. Our guy Eustus is just trying to enjoy his beer with his squad, listening to them hype up their top-tier status when the party's swordswoman abruptly tells him to pack his bags and hit the road. He's completely blindsided, but honestly, he just sighs. He's lost count of how many times he's been tossed to the curb for the exact same reason. See, his only skill is appraisal, which is great for figuring out what a random rock or potion does, but completely useless if you actually need to punch a monster in the face. It's a cosmic joke that this is his one and only ability. He tried forcing himself to learn swords, spears, bows, and magic, but he never even cracked past the beginner level. Getting dropped for being dead weight still feels like a massive punch to the gut though. Standing outside his room, he resolved to just suck it up and find a new squad tomorrow, but the frustration still gets to him, and he shoves his door open a little too hard. Inside, a chest he dropped off earlier has popped open, dumping its contents everywhere. It's a parting gift from the armored dude in his old party, but it's literally just junk he already appraised, or so he thought. Looking closer, a few pieces look totally unfamiliar. He curses his own muscle memory for wanting to appraise garbage even at rock bottom, but decides one quick look couldn't hurt and activates his skill. He gets a read on a sword hilt, a spearhead, a banner scrap, and a bow frame, but all their details come back as completely unknown. He figures they're just ancient, fragile junk. Picking up the sword hilt, he's totally stumped, but then something catches his eye. A weird spherical crystal is just rolling on the floor next to the chest. He picks it up, and his system flags it as the crystal of truth, but flat out refuses to let him appraise it. He just stands there, wondering why it threw an impossible error instead of just saying unknown like the other junk. Staring at the glowing rock, all he can hear is the echoes of his ex-party calling him a useless piece of dead weight. He grips the crystal tight, the irony hitting him hard. He can't even use his one pathetic skill on this thing. So, in a massive fit of rage, he draws his sword and violently smashes the rock into pieces. The crystal shatters instantly, leaving him feeling like an idiot for taking his anger out on a shiny rock. But then the room just ceases to exist, replaced by a swirling dark void. He's completely swallowed by the darkness, panicking, realizing the broken crystal just yeeted him into the shadow realm. His entire life starts flashing before his eyes. Baby pictures, training arcs, watching real adventurers. Floating in the void, he remembers why he even put up with all this crap. It was purely because he saw a knight absolutely wrecking a boss monster when he was a kid, and he thought those heroes looked incredible. That was the moment he found his ultimate goal. He just wanted to be an adventurer. Faced with his own pathetic limits, he asks himself if he's really okay with his story ending as a glorified loot appraiser. His fist clenches, and he screams at the void that there is no effing way he's accepting this. Suddenly, the darkness snaps into a bright, endless field of white flowers. Our guy chuckles, wondering if he just got sent straight to the afterlife, but a voice answers him. A guy in a flowing white robe strolls through the flowers, rocking a slight smile and an eye patch. The MC has zero clue who this guy is, but the stranger insists on proper introductions. MC tentatively asks if that crystal belonged to him. The guy says yup, and MC instantly starts sweating because he definitely just broke it. The stranger casually drops that it was a priceless vintage artifact from thousands of years ago, sending our guy into a panic of apologies. But the guy just laughs, revealing that shattering the crystal was actually the activation trigger. MC yells in embarrassment, wondering if he could have just tapped it instead of going full caveman on it. The stranger brushes it off, cheerfully noting that it brought him here, so it worked. He explains they are currently hanging out inside MC's own consciousness. It's a spiritual dream domain, explicitly designed as a waiting room for whoever was destined to unlock the artifact's true power. The guy reveals he chose MC specifically because he refused to accept his own garbage stats and wanted to change his fate. He drops a bombshell. MC now has the potential to become the strongest being alive. A system prompt teases that a unique skill is about to force his potential to bloom. The man introduces himself as Rowan, explaining his own unique skill can basically hack and reshape other people's abilities. But to do it, the user has to completely understand their own desires first. Rowan leans in, taps MC on the forehead, and asks what he actually saw in that dark void. He points out that those weren't just flashbacks. MC grabs his head as it clicks. He saw memories of things he never actually did, featuring people he never met. Rowan smiles and explains those were visions of his potential futures. They were fragments of what he could have been if he'd made different choices. He saw the absolute peak of what he was capable of, and now Rowan is going to draw out that exact power so MC can overwrite his current pathetic self. Rowan holds out his hand, telling him to grab it before the magical recoil hits. MC hesitates for a second, fully aware this guy gives off massive shady magician vibes, but his desire to actually become strong wins out. He grabs Rowan's hand, internally praying this isn't a scam. Instantly, a massive surge of pure energy explodes in his chest. Rowan tells him that finding the crystal might have been a fluke, but he should treat it like hitting the lottery. Or, as he warmly puts it, just call it fate. As glowing petals swirl around them, MC realizes this is 100% real. Rowan fades away into the light, wishing him the best, right as a massive system notification drops. Appraisal has evolved into inheritance. MC violently gasps awake. He's back on his messy bedroom floor, right next to the open chest, wondering if he just passed out. But the broken crystal shards are completely gone. He checks his status and reads the description for inheritance. Touching weapons or armor lets him absorb the previous owner's power, memories, and skills. He's shell-shocked. This is basically a cheat code to download the combat experience of actual legends. He reaches for a tattered piece of cloth on the floor, deciding to test drive his new OP skill on the random junk. Sitting on his bed, he holds the glowing item and triggers inheritance. Instantly, his brain gets flooded with the entire life story of a legendary female knight named Sword St. Julius. He lives through her battles, her struggles, her entire existence in a matter of seconds. The sheer weight of her life is so intense, it literally brings him to tears. But as the emotional wave passes, he realizes he just downloaded her entire combat prowess directly into his muscle memory. His system goes crazy, pinging him with new unlocked abilities like Sword Saint's Blessing. He finally stands up, realizing he desperately needs to hit the bathroom and get some food. Looking out the window, he sees it's already evening. He completely panics when he realizes he was knocked out for an entire day processing just one life. Eating dinner by candlelight, he reflects on how insanely draining that power-up was. But inheriting her power also unlocked a massive piece of lore. The other broken junk in that chest belonged to the legendary heroes who traveled with her. There was Sage Solomon, the magic prodigy, Meteor Cran, the heavy-hitting tank, and Julius herself. Plus, Rowan the Phantom Demon, Freya the Saintess, and Artemisia, who basically had a Byakugan. Ghostly images of the 6 legends float around him, and he finally understands that they're all passing the torch to him. It's going to take a ton of mental fortitude, and several days to absorb all their intense lifespans. But he kneels on the floor in front of their ancient relics, totally locked in. He screams inheritance and dives right back into the Matrix to download the rest. Cut to 1 week later. Our MC is driving a horse cart down a dirt road, having successfully absorbed all 6 lifetimes. He cleaned out his room and is finally hitting the road solo. He's heading to the adventurer hub of Regalia, absolutely buzzing with an unreal amount of new skills he hasn't even tested yet. But the sky starts hitting aggressively dark. A massive rainstorm hits, forcing him to push the cart harder past some old ruins. He keeps his guard up, knowing this kind of weather is basically an open invitation for monster ganks. Suddenly, he hears a commotion up ahead. Deep in the rainy forest, 3 female travelers are backed into a corner by a goblin ambush. You've got an elf archer, a cleric, and a catgirl fighter fighting for their lives. MC peeks from behind a tree, doing the math. There's at least 30 goblins swarming them. He knows running back for town guards would take way too long. The old him would have been completely useless here. But things are a little different now. He sets his jaw, deciding he's not letting them die today. The spirits of his 6 inner legends hype him up, ready to lend him their ridiculous stats. Standing right beside the ethereal ghost of the archer hero, he summons a magic bow. He mentally asks the squad to lend him a hand, and then he just drops right into the middle of the goblin horde, instantly slashing a few to pieces and casually announcing his arrival. He glances back at the girls to make sure they're in one piece. He tells the trio to fall back and grab some popcorn while he handles the trash. Activating his new clairvoyance skill, Artemisia's spirit flashes beside him like a targeting HUD. He instantly locks onto 10 melee goblins and 2 snipers hiding in the trees. Reaching his hand out, he decides to treat this like a simple tutorial level. He pops Sword's Blessing, summoning massive swords made of pure light as Julius's ghost flexes behind him. He grabs one of the light swords, leaving the catgirl absolutely speechless. Then he vanishes into a blur of speed, carving through the goblin front line like butter. The adventurers just watch in stunned silence. The guy is moving so fast they can't even track him, but the cleric screams a warning as the 2 hidden goblin mages pop out. They start charging up a double magic blast. MC barely even looks at them, scoffing that their cast time is way too slow. He triggers Dispel Chain, shooting anti-magic chains into the sky that instantly cancel out the goblin spells. With their magic denied, MC raises a single arm to finish the job. He casts Vortex, dropping a massive magical nuke from the sky that fries the entire area with lightning. The remaining goblins are left smoking on the ground as MC sighs, disappointed that they barely counted as a warm-up. He shakes the residual electricity off his hand, figuring that's a wrap. Turning back to the girls, he asks if they're okay. The catgirl and the cleric are practically vibrating with awe, staring at him like he's Superman. They rush him, completely fangirling over his insane power display while he just stands there awkwardly. The tall elf woman smiles and reins her friends in before they overwhelm him. She reminds them they skipped a pretty important step, which confuses our guy for a second. But then all 3 girls bow deeply, giving him a massive, heartfelt thank you for saving their lives. Out in the sunlit clearing, MC just brushes it off, genuinely glad he finally got to be the hero he always wanted to be.